Dr. Olivia Martinez looked at the strange black object on her desk. For 6 months, the smartest language experts in the United Earth Alliance tried to understand the odd symbols carved into its surface. 6 months with no success. Another failure, she sighed, moving away from her desk on the spaceship UEA Horizon. Whatever aliens made this language, they clearly didn't want anyone to understand it easily. Captain William Hayes nodded with a serious face. The leaders are getting impatient. I think this object might have important technology information we need to survive against the Voidborn. I've tried every method I know, Olivia said. The symbols don't follow any pattern we recognize. They seem to change meaning depending on where they are, but in ways that don't make sense to our language models. Lieutenant Samantha Reeves walked into the lab holding a tablet. Captain, High Command approved your request. You're sending us a specialist. About time, Williams said quietly. Who are they sending? Samantha looked uncertain. A civilian consultant. Professor Jack Murphy. Olivia looked up quickly. Jack Murphy, the disgraced alien language expert from Harvard. Yes, that's him, Samantha confirmed. He specifically asked to work on this project after hearing rumors about what we found. That man is trouble, Olivia protested. His theories about alien languages were considered too extreme, almost fake science. William shrugged. At this point, I'll take extreme over nothing. The Voidborn fleet gets closer every day. 2 days later, Jack Murphy walked into the lab. He didn't look like a brilliant language expert, with his old leather jacket, unshaved face, and constant half-smile. He looked more like someone who worked in a bar. He walked around whistling a tune. So this is the famous object, he said, walking around the black stone. Beautiful work. Reminds me of something I saw in the ruins on Proxima B. Professor Murphy, Olivia said stiffly. I've prepared information on our analysis methods, and Jack waved his hand dismissively. Won't need it. Your methods are why you're stuck. Olivia felt angry. We've used every established language protocol. That's exactly your problem, Jack interrupted, pulling out a small flask from his jacket and taking a drink. You're treating this like a language. It is a language, Olivia said through clenched teeth. Jack grinned. No, Doc. It's a curse. The room went quiet. A curse, William repeated flatly. Jack tapped the object's surface. These aren't just symbols. They're binding marks. This isn't communication, it's a spell. Olivia laughed in disbelief. You can't be serious. Completely serious, Jack replied, his face suddenly grave. Some languages aren't meant to share information. They're meant to change reality. The civilization that created this, they didn't speak their language. They used it like a weapon. That's ridiculous, Olivia scoffed. Jack shrugged. Maybe, but I bet I can read it by tomorrow morning. Olivia watched him with doubt in her eyes. The fate of Earth might depend on this strange man who talked about curses and spells instead of linguistics and communication theory. She wondered if the military had made a terrible mistake bringing him here. But as Jack began examining the symbols with intense focus, she noticed something she hadn't seen before. The symbols seemed to shift slightly when he touched them, as if responding to his presence.
Perhaps there was more to Jack Murphy than met the eye.
Jack worked through the night. When Olivia arrived the next morning, she found him surrounded by scattered papers, empty coffee cups, and strange drawings on the lab's whiteboards. You look terrible, she said. Jack's eyes were red, but he looked happy. I've got it. Well, most of it. William entered, followed by Admiral Patricia Donovan, who had arrived overnight from Earth Command. Professor Murphy, the Admiral said. Understand you've made progress? Jack nodded. This object contains instructions for turning on a defense network against the Voidborn. The civilization that created it, they called themselves the Shapers. They fought the same enemy thousands of years ago. How could you possibly know that? Olivia demanded. Because cursed languages don't follow normal rules, Jack explained. They work on connection principles. The meaning isn't in the symbols, it's in the relationship between them. He pointed to a sequence of markings. These don't translate to words. They translate to intentions, to ideas that exist between thought and reality. Admiral Donovan leaned forward. Can you activate this network? Jack paused. Yes, but there's a problem. The network needs a conduit, a living mind, to channel its power. What happens to this conduit? William asked quietly. Jack's face turned serious. Nothing good. The Shapers considered it a sacred sacrifice. Then we'll find another way, Olivia insisted. Jack shook his head. There isn't one. We're running out of time. Later that day, Jack showed Olivia his notes. Despite her doubts, she had to admit his work was impressive. You're saying these symbols change meaning based on who reads them, she asked. Exactly, Jack said. It's not just a language, it's alive in a way. It responds to the reader's consciousness. That's impossible, Olivia said, but with less conviction than before. Jack smiled. Lots of things seem impossible until someone does them. He pointed to a complex symbol near the center of the object. This is the key. It's not just a symbol, it's a gateway. The Shapers designed their language to bridge the gap between mind and matter. And you can read it because... ... Jack's smile faded. Because I've spent 20 years studying languages that shouldn't exist. Languages that break the rules of reality. Is that why Harvard fired you? They didn't fire me, Jack corrected. They strongly suggested I pursue my research elsewhere after I started getting results they couldn't explain. Olivia studied him carefully. You really believe this, don't you? That this is some kind of magical language? I don't call it magic, Jack said. I call it advanced linguistic technology. The Shapers understood something we're just beginning to grasp, that language isn't just a tool for communication. It's a tool for creation. A sudden alarm blared through the lab. William's voice came over the intercom. All personnel to emergency stations. We've detected void-borne scout ships entering the solar system. Jack and Olivia exchanged looks. Sooner than expected, Jack muttered. How long do we have? Olivia asked. Not long enough, Jack replied, turning back to the object. I need to finish the translation. The network activation sequence is complex. I'll help, Olivia said, surprising herself. Jack raised an eyebrow. I thought you didn't believe in my methods. I don't, she admitted. But right now, they're the only hope we have. The Voidborn fleet was detected crossing Neptune's orbit 3 days later. Earth had weeks, at most. In the emergency council meeting, Jack explained his findings to the assembled military and scientific leadership. The network consists of 13 objects like ours, positioned throughout the solar system, he said. When activated, they create a field that disrupts the Voidborn's quantum shifting technology. And you're certain about the conduit requirement? General Frank Daniels asked. Jack nodded seriously. The conduit's consciousness becomes part of the network. It's not death exactly, but it's not life either. I'll do it, Olivia said suddenly. All eyes turned to her. No, Jack said firmly. It has to be someone who understands the language. Someone who can speak the final words while connected to the network. You mean you, William realized? Ack! Smiled slightly. Always knew my questionable life choices would lead somewhere interesting. Admiral Donovan stood. Professor Murphy, the United Earth Alliance cannot ask this sacrifice of you. You're not asking, Jack replied. I'm offering. Besides, I've always wanted to go out with a bang. Later, alone in the lab, Olivia confronted him. There has to be another way. Jack's usual smile was gone. There isn't. But hey, look on the bright side. My crazy theories will finally be proven right. Why did you really come here? Olivia asked quietly. Jack was silent for a long moment. My daughter died in the Voidborn attack on Mars colony. This is personal. Olivia didn't know what to say. No. She had misjudged him from the beginning. I'm sorry. She finally managed. Jack shrugged. It was 3 years ago. Nothing brings her back. But this might mean something. How did you learn to read this language? Olivia asked. Really? Jack sighed. After my daughter died, I went to places normal academics avoid. Ancient ruins on distant planets. Forgotten archives. I studied languages that seemed to break the rules of reality, and you found something. I found that the universe is stranger than we think, Jack said. Some civilizations discovered that language isn't just about communication, it's about shaping reality itself. Like the Shapers, Olivia said. Jack nodded. They were masters of it. They understood that the right words, spoken with the right intent, could change the fabric of existence. That sounds like magic, Olivia said. Maybe it is, Jack admitted. Or maybe it's just science we don't understand yet. Arthur C. Clarke once said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Olivia looked at the black object. And this network kit will really stop the Voidborn? It did before, Jack said. The Shapers fought them thousands of years ago and won. But the victory cost them everything, including the conduit, Olivia said. Jack nodded. The network needs a living mind to direct its power, to tell it where to strike. And that mind becomes part of the network, Olivia finished. Ever, Jack confirmed, or until someone shuts it down. Olivia felt a chill. Is there any way to retrieve the consciousness afterward? Jack's expression softened. The Shapers didn't think so, but they also didn't try very hard. They saw it as an honor, the ultimate sacrifice for their people. And you're willing to make that sacrifice? Olivia asked. Jack looked out the viewport at the stars. For a chance to stop the Voidborn, to save Earth? Yes, without hesitation. The next day, the UA Horizon changed course. They were heading to a special location in space, where Jack said the network could be activated. We need to find the other 12 objects, Jack explained to the ship's crew. According to the translation, they're hidden throughout our solar system. Admiral Donovan nodded. I've already dispatched search teams. 3 objects have been located so far. That's not enough, Jack said. We need all 13 to form the complete network. The Voidborn will reach Mars in 5 days, William reminded them. Earth in 10. Jack ran his hand through his messy hair. Then we better hurry. Over the next 4 days, search teams found 7 more objects. They were hidden in strange places inside asteroids, buried on moons, floating in the rings of Saturn. Each one had the same black surface, with shifting symbols. Olivia worked closely with Jack, helping him prepare the activation ritual. Despite her initial doubts, she now believed in his theories. She had seen too much evidence to deny it. What will it feel like? She asked him as they studied the main object. When you become the conduit? Jack shrugged. The Shapers' records aren't clear on that. Some passages suggest a kind of expansion of consciousness. Others hint at pain. You don't have to do this, Olivia said softly. Jack gave her a small smile. Yes, I do. And you know it. On the 5th day, the final objects were recovered. All 13 were brought aboard the UEA Horizon and arranged in a special pattern in the ship's largest cargo bay. The pattern is important, Jack explained to Admiral Donovan. It creates a resonance field that amplifies the network's power, and you're sure this will stop the Voidborn? The Admiral asked. It's our best shot, Jack replied. Their ships use quantum shifting technology to move between dimensions. This network creates a field that locks them into normal space, making them vulnerable. William looked concerned. The Voidborn fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Earth in 3 days. Then we activate tomorrow, Jack decided. Once the objects are properly aligned, that night, Olivia found Jack in the observation deck looking out at the stars. Couldn't sleep? She asked. He shook his head. Too much on my mind. Second thoughts? No, Jack said firmly. Just ... reflecting. It's been a strange journey. From disgraced professor to humanity's last hope, Olivia said with a small smile. Jack laughed. When you put it that way, it sounds ridiculous. They stood in comfortable silence for a while. I was wrong about you, Olivia finally said. When you first arrived, I thought you were ... a crackpot. Fraud, Jack suggested. Something like that, she admitted. I'm sorry, don't be, Jack said. Most people think that about me. It's why I work alone. Not anymore, Olivia said. You have people who believe in you now. Jack turned to look at her. That means more than you know. The next morning, final preparations were made. The 13 objects were positioned precisely according to Jack's instructions. He stood in the center of the pattern, wearing a special suit designed to channel the network's energy. The Voidborn have entered Mars orbit, Samantha reported from the bridge. Our main fleet will reach Earth in 48 hours. Jack nodded. Then it's time. Olivia helped him with the final adjustments to his suit. The ship will maintain position at these coordinates. Once the network activates, we'll target the Voidborn fleet. Remember, Jack said seriously, no matter what happens to me, don't interrupt the process. The network must complete its activation cycle. Olivia nodded, fighting back tears. Understand. Jack smiled at her. It's been an honor working with you, Dr. Martinez. Likewise, Professor Murphy, she replied softly. The UEA Horizon positioned itself at the coordinates Jack had translated from the object. The other 12 objects were arranged in a precise pattern around the ship. Jack sat in a specially built chamber, the original object before him. His hands shook slightly as he made final adjustments to the equipment. "Transmission from Earth Command," Samantha announced over the intercom. "The Voidborn fleet has sped up. Expected arrival in 6 hours." "Just in time for the show," Jack muttered. Olivia entered the chamber, carrying a data pad. "The final calculations are complete. Once you begin the words, you'll have about 3 minutes before the network fully activates." Jack nodded. "Just enough time to say my piece." "I still think this is crazy," Olivia said. "All the best plans are." Jack grinned. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry we didn't meet under better circumstances. You're a brilliant linguist." "And you're a reckless fool," she replied, but there was no anger in her words. The ship's alarm sounded. "Voidborn scout ships detected," William's voice came over the com. "They've found us." "Time to get this party started," Jack said, placing his hands on the object. As Olivia left the chamber, Jack began to speak. The words weren't in any human language. They seemed to bend the air itself, creating ripples around him. From the bridge, Olivia watched as the objects began to glow with an eerie blue light. Energy arced between them, forming a web of light against the backdrop of space. "It's working," William breathed. The approaching Voidborn ships suddenly faltered, their sleek black hulls rippling as if caught in a storm. In the chamber, Jack continued the strange words, his voice growing stronger even as his physical form began to fade, becoming see-through, glowing. "Network at 60% capacity," Samantha reported. "The Voidborn fleet is destabilizing." Jack's voice echoed through the ship's comm system, no longer speaking the alien language but his own final words. "Tell humanity to raise a glass for me. And remember, sometimes you have to speak the devil's language to send him back to hell." With a blinding flash, the network fully activated. A wave of energy expanded outward, engulfing the Voidborn fleet. Their ships twisted, contorted, and then simply disappeared. Where Jack had been, only the object remained, now glowing with an inner light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Olivia approached it slowly, tears running down her face. As she touched its surface, she felt a familiar presence, a feeling that felt unmistakably like Jack's spirit. "The network is stable," she reported quietly. "Earth is safe." 3 months later, Olivia stood before the United Earth Alliance Council, presenting her findings. "The network remains active, protecting our solar system from any future Voidborn incursions," she explained. "And we've begun to understand more of the Shaper's language, thanks to Professor Murphy's work." "And what of Professor Murphy himself?" a council member asked. Olivia paused. "Our best understanding is that his consciousness became part of the network. He exists now in a state between dimensions. Is he aware? Can he communicate?" "We believe so," Olivia said. "The main object occasionally displays new symbols, messages we're learning to decode. They appear to be observations, sometimes jokes, very much in Professor Murphy's style. So he's still with us, in a way," the council member said. Olivia nodded. "Yes, and thanks to him, humanity has a future." That night, alone in her lab, Olivia placed a beer next to the glowing object. "You always said you wanted to go out with a bang," she said softly. "Well, you did it, Jack. You saved us all." The object pulsed once, twice, 3 times. Olivia smiled through her tears. Somewhere in the space between thought and reality, Jack Murphy was raising a toast.